Hi guys, not been out for days on end now, mainly because like I said I've got no money, I've got no food, and it's the 4th today, so I've still got 10 days before I get any money. My friend's been coming around a couple of times, he's kind of helped out a little bit. Anyway, thing is that like I say, obviously being stuck indoors all the time, it gets really depressing actually. And the weather's been really great actually. The weather's been really sunny. It's been really nice. And I keep thinking I want to go out. I mean, it wouldn't take much to go and walk somewhere. But I'm just finding it hard to get motivated at the moment. Anyway, so in the meantime I've been doing some of the little videos that you may have noticed, like the music ones with some of my artwork and other things. And I'm quite enjoying doing them at the moment because at least it's a bit of a creative outlet. In terms of my label tree, label tree, again I've kind of put that on hold. I will get round to it, I will do it. I'm definitely motivated to do it, it's just I'm preoccupied, as you can imagine, you know what I mean. It plays on your mind when you haven't got any money and things start to run out, and you know, I've almost lost my internet connection because of it as well. You know, my rent has been due, it's been due for the last 2 weeks, but again I can't pay that for another 10 days yet, do you know what I mean? So when I do get that money, virtually all of it's gone straight away again because of all the bills that are piling up. Do you know what I mean? So it's just playing on my mind. Anyway, so a couple of things. I've just found some old videos that I made with a really. Well, I don't know if it was one of my old cameras actually. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's another thing. You see, I've been selling a lot of my stuff as well to try and. My friend, like I say, has been coming round and he knows a place where he can sell a lot of my electronic stuff. We're not getting a lot of money for it, but see, that's another thing. Is I hate, you know, I built up this nice collection of little gadgets and bits and bobs. Okay, fair enough. They're sat in a drawer, and I very rarely use a lot of them these days. You know what I mean? And chances are I might not use some of them ever again. Possibly they'll sit in a drawer collecting dust. So if you can sell them, and I can't eat them, can I? I can eat the money or use the money to buy food that I can get from them. But still, you know, it's kind of like some of them I might have used again at some point down the line. Do you know what I mean? And you know, they weren't like mega expensive, but they weren't cheap either. But the trouble is, I'm getting nowhere near, not even half of what they were originally bought for. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting pittance, really. Do you know what I mean? That's the trouble with sending stuff second hand sort of thing. You know, it's, you know, especially with a lot of these stores these days, these ones where they're like pawn shop type things. They don't call them pawn shops anymore, funny enough. Not in this country anyway, I don't know elsewhere. But you very rarely come an actual pawn shop anywhere in this country. There'll be the odd one or two knocking about, but they're extremely rare. These days they're called CEX, or they're flipping called cash converters, or this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? But really they're a pawn shop, essentially. Because you can go and put your stuff there, they give you a certain amount of money, and if you want to buy it back, then obviously you whatever system they use, and then at some point you go back and you buy your item back and what have you, and sort of thing. But essentially a pawn shop. Do you know what I mean? But of course, then you can also just take your stuff there and sell it and just get the cash for it and whatever. So you know, like I say, that's been bugging me a little bit because, you know, I've come from nothing. I come from a background of having basically now a very deprived. And this isn't me about, you know, sort of like, oh, poor is me or whatever. It's just a state of fact that, you know, I come from an extremely deprived background and having next to nothing for most of my life. And then, of course, 20 years on the streets. Do you know what I mean? So the thing is, for me, you know, in these last few years, to build up a little collection of different bits and bobs and things that I've always kind of dreamed of having, you know, and again, I haven't got the top of the range things either. I can't afford the top of the range things, but I can get the next equivalent to it. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing. I mean, this is about one of the best things I've ever bought. This Sony camera here, sort of thing. But again, it wasn't like mega expensive compared to some that you can get. You know, I think it's about 80 quid or something. That I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But then I had the funds, you know what I mean? I had lots of work at that point, do you know what I mean? And there was lots of work coming in, and do you know what I mean? I was working almost every single day, and you know, so earnings was good, you know what I mean? It's like feast and famine at the moment, you know what I mean? Going through a period of famine at the moment. You know, when I first started, it was a period of feast. You know what I mean? I just had tons of stuff. I could go shopping almost every single day. I had tons of food in the house. You know what I mean? God blimey, I was the luckiest man on earth, I thought. You know, but now of course, like it's back to the old famine time again. But hopefully, you know, things will turn around again at some point, all being well. Anyway, again, I didn't really want to make this video about harping on about what's the name. Anyway, sorry. The thing is. I was going through some of my old stuff, like I say, and I come across some old videos that I thought I'd lost, that I didn't have anymore. But I've found them. And there's some of Finbar, my cat. Now I've got Spot, but I also had another cat called Finbar. And actually his ashes are here. This is Finbar. Sadly, he was only a year old when he died, but that's Finbar now, sadly. I got him cremated, and that's his little cremation box thing. You know, I don't know if you can see that, or how clear you can see that in there. But that's a sleeping cat. I believe it's made out of rosewood, but I'm not 100% on that. I could have sworn they said on the thing it was rosewood. Anyway, so it's in the form of a sleeping cat. And poor Finbar, sadly, is in there. But like I say, I only had him for a year, and him and Spot grew up together. They come from different litters, but you know, they were about the same age as well. There was only a week difference between them. I think Finbar was older by a week, but. Like I say, they got on like a house on fire. They're like brothers, you know what I mean? They doted on each other. They really got on well, considering they came from two different litters. But like I say, they were both round about 8 weeks old when they were introduced to each other anyway, sort of thing. So I guess that kind of, you know, maybe explains part of the reason why they got on so well. But anyway, like I say, when he turned a year old, it was about a year old he was. And this is about 2 years ago now, 2012 actually, 2012, so what's that, 3 years ago, and he got run over outside there was a road outside my back garden here, and but that was Finbar. Finbar was too adventurous for his own good, really. He was full of life, literally. He was the complete opposite to Spot. Spot is very laid back, very cautious cat. Do you know what I mean? And he's very wary. And he doesn't necessarily take risks, actually, does Spot. Whereas Finbar was the complete opposite. He was a complete extrovert, Finbar. Finbar was a complete extrovert. He just, whenever I bought a new toy for them, and I used to buy them one each, or sometimes a toy between them, whatever. But whatever new toy I bought for them, Finbar was the first one to investigate it. He was straight in there, you know what I mean? He didn't, what's this? Come on, let's go and find out, and he'd dive straight in. Whereas Spot would always sit back, watch and see what Finbar did first, and if you saw like Finbar was having fun, you think like, oh well, must be okay then. I'll go and have a nosy. Do you know what I mean? He was a very cautious cat. He really was. Spot. I'm getting a bit miggled up. Anyway, yeah, but sadly, like I say, because of that boundless energy, if you like, or whatever, and lack of cautiousness, I think that's why Finbar got caught by the traffic out there. I didn't know at the time. I didn't find out until it had gone like hours and hours. By then I'd put a flat cat flap in for them at that point, and so they could come and go as they please. and you kind of get used to your cat's routines after a little while. And Finbar would go out. He'd probably be out the longest. And funny enough, Spot was much a house cat. Nowadays, Spot's the opposite way around. He'll be out all the time, or a lot of the time. Although, well, I don't know. It's kind of a bit of a balance, really. I think more nighttime as well. He's a nighttime cat. He'll go out more nighttime. He'll stay most of the time indoors. He's in the bathroom at the moment, actually sleeping on the window ledge in the bathroom. Anyway, so like I said, he'd go out, and Finbar would probably be out the longest. Do you know what I mean? And Finbar he was the first one to leave the garden. Spot again would stay in the garden mostly, but Finbar would be off. Because like I say, he was one of those cats that just loved exploring and all the rest of it, and blah blah blah. So anyway, like I say, it had gone past a certain time when I thought, like, he should be back by now, and I was getting a bit worried. It was getting about 1 o'clock in the morning, and so I thought, what's going on? What's not like Finbar? And I was getting worried. I thought maybe, I didn't think the worst, funny enough. I thought maybe, well, in some ways the worst. It depends on how you look at it, but from my point of view, it would have been just as bad in a sense. But I just thought somebody might have taken him, do you know what I mean? Or he'd gone off with somebody, or something like that, do you know what I mean? That was where my thinking was going, sort of thing. Or that he got lost and he didn't know how to get back, you know what I mean? Those were the sort of scenarios I was thinking. And at least in any of those scenarios, that at least he'd still be with us, even if he wouldn't be with me. At least he'd still be alive. But anyway, the thing is that, like I say, he didn't. So I went outside and I had a little look round as best I could, and street lamppost, just a bit further on from where my garden wall is, and I'm walking down there, and I noticed there was something stuck to the lamppost, some sort of notice light or whatever, which I hadn't seen earlier on in the day, because I'd been out during the day earlier on, and I hadn't noticed it then. So I thought, oh, what's that there? So, and again, I wasn't putting two and two together. I wasn't really, I didn't think. Although I must admit that I started getting some kind of sense. I don't know, because the nearer I got to the lamppost, the more something in the back of my head. And then when I saw RSPCA, the RSPCA is the RSPCA, Royal Society for Prevention to Cruelty to Animals. I can't remember the exact what's the name. Anyway, the RSPCA, it's an animal charity we have in this country that protects animals, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I noticed their logo. They've got a Pacific logo that's been the same for years and years and years since they were incepted, the inception of the organisation. And so, anybody see that logo anywhere in the country would know instantly what it was. You know what I mean? So I saw the RSPCA logo, and so I drew closer to the lamppost to read the notice that was sellotaped very casually onto the lamppost, and the more I sort of looked, and in the back of my mind something then started to click. And anyway, it basically said Ginger Tom found deceased, and again, I must admit, even at that point, a part of me still didn't really register. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm reading the word deceased, but I still didn't see it as dead. I know that sounds a bit bonkers, but I don't know. Maybe because I didn't want it to be the case, you know what I mean? I just didn't believe that it could be. It just seemed too cruel somehow, do you know what I mean? No, this can't be right. So anyway, I read it, like I said, I read it again, and then there was a phone number that was left on there. And so I got onto the phone, and they confirmed that they'd found a Ginger Tom cat, that it'd been killed, blah blah blah, been hit by a car. Somebody had reported it, and the RSPCA had come out. Anyway, they were based, for some reason, I don't know why it was in Putney. I don't know if we've got, maybe that's the only place in this part of London where, I don't know, I have no idea. But for whatever reason, it was in a place called Putney, which I mentioned on one of my other videos, so it's not that nearby me, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a way. So, anyway, arranged to go down there, and I know it sounds crazy. It's almost like, when you're a deceased relative and you got to go and view the body to officially identify. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like, that was the same sort of process. Anyway, so that's what I did. Went down there, and you know, and it was definitely him. It was definitely him. There was no two ways about it. And like I say, it was just really, really sad. And they basically then gave me the option. There was three options actually. There was one, you could be cremated with all the other deceased animals that they have at that place. And there's a company, a firm, a business that does all the cremations for the RSPCA within London at least. I can't speak again for other parts. But anyway, so basically, like I say, that was one option. They could get cremated with all the others, and then they scatter the ashes of all the mixed, and they're all mixed up, all the ashes together on some sort of little field somewhere in Oxford, and it's like some sort of memorial garden type thing or whatever. So I could either have that option, or I could take him home and bury him in the garden, which, to be quite honest, I didn't relish that prospect, because we got a lot of foxes in this area. The foxes are all over the place, and we get them in the back garden at times. You know what I mean? And I just, you know, I thought, what if they start digging him up and what have you? So, didn't quite fancy that idea anyway. To be put, and of course, then Spot might smell him in there or whatever. I don't know. So, but for whatever reason, that just did not appeal to me. I did not like that idea. So then the other option was I could get him individually cremated. If I contact the company that does all the cremations for the RSPCA, but it would cost me, I would have to pay individually. It would cost me £100 odd, £150 odd or something to get him individually cremated and delivered back to me in his little casket and what have you. So I decided to go down that route, because the way I saw it is that his life was cut so short, and I didn't have any real time with him at all, and he never spent any time with us. So I thought, even though he's not here in his original form, if you like, if you want to put it that way, at least he's here with us in a different form, in that sense, but at least he's still here with us. I know that might make no sense to some people, perhaps they might not understand that, but some people might get it and see where I'm coming from on that. Because he was a lovely cat, he really was. I've got some pictures up there as well of him. I've made a little kind of, it's not quite a shrine, but it's like a little thing there with all these photographs and when he was born, when he died, and you know, sort of thing. And yeah, it was really sad. But anyway, cool, blimey. Get back to where I was originally what I was originally talking about. I found a video of him. Well, in fact, I know I had some videos still left of him. But I found this one, which is a little bit longer than some of the others that I didn't realise I still had. But the sound quality is terrible because it was filmed, if I'm not mistaken, let me just, sorry, it was filmed with this camera. And this is more of a photograph camera rather than a film camera, although you can film with it, you know what I mean. But the thing is that when you film with this camera, you can hear all the workings inside of the flipping camera. It sounds like it's whirring, you know what I mean? And it sounds like you can hear like a click and every now and again a click, like clockwork or something. You know what I mean? You can hear this flipping, and it's really loud as well. It's like really, really loud. So in terms of taking film footage, it's a terrible camera for doing that with, really. And it's not in HD. It's really poor quality. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I'd like to put it up on my channel, but I don't want to put it up in the state that it's in at the moment. Now, I don't know whether to just then put it up and just put some music with it, which would be easy enough to do, or whether to try and, because I'm also thinking about the quality, like I say, the picture's really grainy. And there's moments when it's really hard to see what's going on because it goes really, really dark as you're moving around, the light's changing, sort of thing, and whatever sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm kind of debating. So I might try and put that up, either as it is with some music to it, or I'll try and find some way of perhaps improving it somehow. I'm sure there's some software or whatever out there that you can download that you can do stuff with, but I've been down that route before with other little projects and stuff I've tried doing, and it inevitably turns into a flipping massive mission. You know what I mean, one way or another, and anyway. So I might do that, I might not. Right, okay, I have really waffled on. As Adam the Woo says, I've waffled on about nothing and said so little. I'm not even quoting him properly. Anyway, so whatever, Trevor, whatever. I think what I'm going to do is I will stop this vlog shortly, and I'll stick this up. I mean, like I say, you see, the thing is, I just feel peed off at the moment, in general. Peed off because, like I say, I can't really get out and about like I did before. And you know, I hate being stuck indoors. But tomorrow, hopefully, by the way, spoiler alert, right, tomorrow, all being well, if my friend doesn't let me down, although he has let me down a couple of times, I tend to forgive him for it though, because I know his situation, so I don't hold it. He's my friend at the end of the day. I'm not going to fall out over it. But that doesn't mean to say that it's not disappointing nonetheless, and annoying, and you know, especially when you've got your expectations. You're really looking forward to doing something. So tomorrow, fingers crossed. I mean, he did say he was going to pop in this afternoon quickly to drop me some food off, and he said that was going to be about 12, and it's now 2:10. Anyway, again, try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Whatever. Again, I'm not going to have a big argument about it. It's not worth it. Anyway, tomorrow, all being well, he will turn up tomorrow as promised. He's going to pay for my travel tomorrow. We're going to go to a place called Rochester. It's on the train line. It takes about an hour and a half to get there. It's got a castle and a cathedral. I've passed it a few times, and in fact I'm going to pass it for another 2 times in the next couple of months, doing another piece of work for emergence. No, sorry, not for Engage, I beg your pardon. So I'll be going past Rochester a couple of times anyway. But the thing is, I can't get off there because my ticket isn't to Rochester, so my ticket is to Sittingbourne. And so I don't think there's a possibility of me being able to get off at Rochester and do it that way. But actually, I might look into that, especially if my friend does let me down tomorrow. You know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for him to do that. But again, like I say, touch wood, hopefully, fingers crossed, all being well, he won't do that. But as I said, worst case scenario, if he does, I might look into the possibility, because I think those tickets, because they paid that, again, because I'm doing this for Engage, they've paid my travel to go and do this piece of work for them. So that's really good. And I've got the tickets. The tickets we got them already booked in advance and so forth. So now I'm almost certain they're open return. If they're open return tickets, then actually, when I think about it, it's possible I could get off at Rochester on the way back from doing this piece of work, which will be around about 5 in the afternoon. But by the time I'm going back up there, it's going to be around about late October, so it's probably going to be starting getting dark by then, actually. And I can't really do it in the morning because I have to go there super early in the morning anyway. Yeah, it might not be practical. Anyway, sorry. I'm like thinking all this as I'm talking to you off the top of my head, just straight off the top of my head. Right, okay. So I'll stop waffling. Yeah, but anyway, so hopefully, like I said, tomorrow, all being well, we're going to Rochester for the day. I'm going to do some filming and stuff, film the castle. So I hope you guys like castles, because it's an old, literally, you know, couple of 1,000-year-old castle, whatever it is. I don't know exactly how old it is, but, you know, medieval castle and what have you. I don't know what, I mean, from when I've seen it from the train, it looks fairly intact. It looks really big as well. So I don't know whether it's just purely ruins or whether there's parts of the castle where you can actually go physically inside. To look at it, it looks like that would be the case from the outside, from when I've seen it on the train. It looks like you'd be able to. It's not just complete ruins or whatever. It's, do you know what I mean? Much more solid and I can't think of the word I'm looking. Oh, anyway, so that's where we're going tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Okay, guys, I have waffled on enough. This is about 20 minutes long now, this thing, and I've just noticed the battery has gone right down. Right, catch you guys later. Bye for now.